A car this boring has no right to be this brilliant. It's the updated version of the Toyota Camry. It's not an all-new model, but it is all hybrid this time around. There are 3 versions to choose from, and this one here is the entry grade, just under 40 grand before on-road costs. And well, it is the epitome of boringness. But hey, there are some other versions that I'll tell you about in this review and some alternatives too. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and let's get to it. The Camry is now a fully hybrid lineup. There's no petrol model anymore, and the brand knows that it sells in big numbers to fleet customers. The prices have all gone up, and you do have to spend a little bit more to get into a Camry these days, but the entry-level price for the Ascent, which is this one here, is $39,990 plus on-road costs, and it's still getting plenty of standard specs and tech. Things like full LED lighting around the car. You've also got 17-inch alloy wheels, there's power folding mirrors, you've got a nice cloth interior trim with manual front seat adjustment. You've got some decent tech in the cabin as well, including a 7-inch digital instrument cluster. There's also an 8-inch touchscreen media system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's got sat-nav, Bluetooth, DAB radio, and a 6-speaker sound system. Plus there's 5 USB-C ports as well. If you spend a few $1,000s more and get into the Ascent Sport, you're getting, well, a few extra features for that cash, including better high-grade LED lights. You also get LED front fog lights, and that one also comes with power driver's seat adjustment, power driver's seat lumbar adjust. There's a leather accented steering wheel and gear knob, an auto dimming rear view mirror, which you don't get in the base model, which is a bit povo. Plus there's also a wireless phone charger and a 12.3-inch touchscreen media system, which does look a lot more fitting for a modern day model like this. And the top of the range model, well, it's definitely the one that will be seen most at golf courses. It's the SL grade. It's just over $50,000, so you're talking almost Lexus money, and it is basically the Lexus spec version of the Camry that's available. So it comes with things like 18-inch alloy wheels. It also gets heated exterior mirrors with memory settings. There's front and rear camera washers, as well as the surround view camera, which is standard on all grades. You also get a panoramic glass roof, leather seat trim, 8-way power adjustment for the passenger seat, memory settings for the driver's seat, heated and ventilated front seats. There's also paddle shifters, a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, a digital rear view mirror, so it's a camera instead of a mirror, and there's also rain sensing wipers, a heated steering wheel, a head-up display, and a 9-speaker JBL sound system for that grade. So that definitely has more tech and more spec, there's no doubt about it, but it is a fairly expensive mid-size car. But hey, I've got some good alternatives that you might want to consider that might be a little bit more friendly to your budget. If you just want a hybrid sedan and you don't care if it's this big or a little bit smaller, and you just want it to be super duper efficient, well, you should go and check out the Hyundai i30 sedan hybrid. It might not suit everyone's taste in terms of the styling, but it is a far more modern looking vehicle in my opinion, and it does have a bunch of different versions available from a much lower price point. And I think that it does stack up really, really convincingly if you are looking for a hybrid sedan, still with plenty of space in the back seat and still with a huge boot too. Now, another car that you might want to consider if you're thinking, well, why go hybrid? Why not go fully electric? Well, go and have a look at the BYD Seal. The entry-level version in particular starts under 50 grand. It is fully electric. It has more than 400 Ks of EV driving range, and it has heaps and heaps of tech. I reckon that that car stacks up really well from the value perspective. And look, I think that if you are looking to go electric, it might be a really simple step into that world. But hey, if you're not into electric and you're not necessarily sold on the whole hybrid thing, well, what about the Skoda Octavia? The entry-level version of that car has plenty of wow factor. It's a fantastic thing to live with, really nice to drive, and it's available as a liftback sedan or a wagon, which could be the big decision maker for you. There's not that many cars that are available as a liftback sedan and as a wagon, so it could be a really good choice for you. It's super duper practical as a wagon as well. Tell me which one you would pick in the comments. So as I mentioned, this one is the entry-level version, the Ascent, and you can tell it apart from the other models because it's got slightly less wow factor headlights. It's also got these almost like European Mondeo spec wheels, which I don't really like personally, but you might be a fan of. And it's still obviously the same silhouette as before because it is just a big facelift for this model. It does have a new rear end design, so you can see the taillights have been reshaped, and Look, it's still got a massive boot. The whole point of this car is basically the boot, and the button's over there in case you're wondering, not underneath the M where it might usually be. You can see for yourself just how much space there is available to you in this car. It has a massive boot, and obviously part of the reason is that it's been designed to be able to cope with golf club bags, because that's one of the things that lots of Japanese brands tend to focus on. Now, let's have a look in the boot at some of the features. So you've got these pull tabs to release those back seats. Yes, it does have 60/40 split fold rear seats. They're not folding because they don't actually fold. You have to go around to do that. So let me do that. See, there is a bit of a portal there, so you can load longer items through if you need to. And on the sides of the boot, you've also got these little shopping bag hooks, which is pretty handy. There's pretty sizable gaps on the side as well. This one also lifts up, so that's where your 12-volt battery is. If you ever need to access it, you probably won't. And there's also, on this side, another shopping bag hook. There's a light under there too, which is a very dull halogen light. And down here you'll find this little handy instruction, so you can lift up this part and hook it onto there if you need to access underneath the boot floor. And if you do need to get under the boot floor, you'll also find that you've got a space saver spare wheel under there, which is pretty handy. So definitely very practical, definitely very clever. Now let's take a look inside and see if it's any good. Rightio, so like I said multiple times already, this is the base model, and bloody hell does it feel a bit basic for 40 grand. Like a plastic steering wheel, no auto dimming rearview mirror, and this tiny little screen. It's an 8-inch touchscreen media system, and it is very underwhelming. I mean, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless, which is a good thing to have, no doubt about that. It's relatively quick, but it just looks so small and so out of place for a modern day car. 2024 people, almost 2025. And yes, it doesn't necessarily tick my box, but it does have a few things that you might want to keep an eye on. Like there's an energy flow meter thing there. You've also got detailed trip info available to you on this screen here. And yes, it's got Bluetooth, it's got all the things you would expect. And I think that, I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't have buttons to use down the bottom. It does have a dial, which is good, but thankfully there are some other nice buttons. And I know that's so stupid to say, but I love that there are buttons in here. You've got climate control down here with a dual zone setup. You've also got a simple button to turn on your recirc if you want it on. And yes, your off button for the fan is there too if you want to turn it off. And if you do want to adjust the fan, there's a little toggle for it. So all of that is very simple. And I love that about this car. And there's also nice, easy controls on the steering wheel as well. These don't take much learning at all. And it is great to see that, well, Toyota hasn't necessarily gone all crazy on us and done something weird with its controls, because this is pretty simple to use. There's a digital instrument cluster up here, as you can see. You can adjust some elements of the car on the screen there using those controls on the steering wheel. And just here is your driver monitoring camera system. So sometimes you can see those little purple lights. You can only see them on a camera. Yes, they keep an eye on your eyes to make sure that you're not being distracted. And I get it, it's supposed to be smarter and, well, have more tech than before, but it does feel a bit cheapo. Plastic steering wheel, plastic gear knob, and the storage down here is actually not too bad, but there's no wireless phone charger, which is a disappointment. There's a box here and a little tray there as well. You've got USB-C ports down there, and you've also got decent sized cup holders. Here is where you'll find some more buttons. You've got your drive mode buttons, EV mode if you want to use it, and your park brake is an electronic park brake, and there's a big center console area as well with a 12-volt port. One thing that I do like about it is this fabric seat trim, and it's kind of like Skoda-ish in some ways, and I like that about it. Another thing I don't like about it is that it doesn't have a light headliner. It makes it feel a bit dark and gloomy in here, and it doesn't sort of live up to the sporty vibe that you usually get from other cars that have dark headliners. There is a flip down little unit here for your sunglasses, and you've also got an SOS button up there. That means this car has connected services, and look, if you want to subscribe to services beyond just having SOS, like vehicle tracking and so forth, then you can do that, but it costs you a monthly rate. You'll see the numbers on your screen. All right, let's check out the backseat space. I mean, the Camry's always been good at that, hasn't it? There's a good reason that these cars are very popular with rideshare drivers and taxis because, well, they are super duper practical. For the size of the car, there's plenty of space back here. I've got lots of knee room, a decent amount of foot room, sort of tucked in a little bit underneath there. And there's mat pockets on the seat backs, and headroom is also pretty good. As you can see, I'm 6 foot and I do have enough space back here to be pretty comfortable. If you're 6'4" or 6'5", you might find it a little bit tight, but not everyone is that tall. Now, there's also ISOFIX points in the window seats and top tethers as well, as you can see up there on the parcel shelf. So there's one for each seat. You don't have adjustable headrests though. That's something that some parents might find a little annoying. And there's also a flip down armrest. Even in this base grade, you get a flip down, more of a flop down armrest with cup holders in it as well. And down here, you'll find you've got USB-C ports as well as a pair of directional air vents. So that all adds to the easy nature of this backseat experience. It's pretty comfy. You can fit 3 across if you need to. There is a transmission tunnel intrusion, but it's not too bad. And the seat comfort isn't too bad either. So, yep, as expected, it is definitely a Camry. All Camry models come with a 2.5 litre petrol electric hybrid system. So you've got a 2.5 litre petrol engine with 138 kilowatts and 221 Newton meters, which is teamed up to an electric motor with 100 kilowatts and 208 Newton meters. Now, if you were doing the maths there, you would have got a nice big number, but the combined maximum number is actually just 170 kilowatts, and Toyota doesn't quote any torque figure for a combined number. Now, it does have a CVT automatic transmission and it's front wheel drive, and the battery pack is a 4 amp hour lithium ion system, and this car can tow a little bit. There's a 400 kilogram towing capacity for both unbraked and brake trailers for the new Camry. So what's it like to drive? It's got a bit more power and a bit more efficiency on its side. Let's see if it's real world efficient and decent to drive. Now, Toyota says that they've made this car more powerful, more efficient, and better to drive than the previous version. Now, the previous one was already pretty good to drive. This one is better though. It does have a nicer behavior to it in most situations, and part of that comes down to the fact that it's been basically recalibrated with extra power. This powertrain now has 170 kilowatts combined, and like, it didn't feel like it was short of power before. It's a 10 kilowatt bump, but now it just has a little bit more effortlessness when you do need to get on the throttle, and it pulls away pretty quickly. And look, you've obviously got the petrol engine, the electric motor, all working together to try and keep things moving efficiently, but also powerfully. And yes, the engine can run basically as a generator to help use the electric motor and the battery pack more, and can also assist the electric motor if needed to. So look, it's a very, very good solution to this sort of application. There's easily enough grunt, and it is quieter and more refined than before too. Now, you will notice that this hybrid system will basically shuffle between whether it's using the petrol engine, whether it's just using EV mode. The little EV indicator on the dashboard will tell you that, and it also goes silent, but otherwise it's pretty hard to hear the petrol engine when the hybrid system is running, especially at higher speeds. At lower speeds, you can sort of hear it whirring away as a generator or assisting the battery pack and electric motor to push you along. But it is a very, very smart and smooth system. Like, it just interchanges between EV mode, petrol mode, hybrid mode, all of those really, really cleverly. And I'm so impressed with it. I mean, the existing Camry hybrid and any other car with this 2.5 litre hybrid system has been a good thing. And this one, yeah, continues that theme. It is good. In fact, it's great. And another thing that I really like about it is that they seemingly have improved the brake pedal responsiveness and the feel to the brake pedal. Yes, it's still got the regen braking system, so it will basically be able to feed a bit of potentially lost energy back into the battery pack, but it's also got better feel to the top of the pedal now. Previously, it had this sort of graunchy, whiny sort of feel to it, but now you can basically just have the assuredness that you want when you do need to press on the pedal, and it will come to a pretty quick stop. It's still on that same platform, so that means that it's still got the same sort of driving experience as before as well, but it feels just a little bit more mature, a little bit more comfortable, and it's still very easy to drive as well. Steering is very accurate and easy to judge, and the ride comfort I think is exceptional for a car like this. And I've just done, well, almost 100 Ks this morning, and including some urban driving, some freeway driving, and it's very, very calm and quiet on the freeway. It's also really, really manageable in urban situations like I'm in right now, and it is very hushed as well, which is one thing that is really appreciable about this car. You can hear yourself think. It's not loud in most situations, and certainly the engine is quieter now than it was in the previous version of this car, because it could get a little bit raucous before, but now it's actually pretty well sorted in terms of the refinement. And on the whole, I'm just impressed with this car. I just think that if you need a hybrid sedan and you don't want it to be annoying in terms of the safety tech, because that's another big plus about this car, none of the safety tech is annoying, so thumbs up for that. But it is just a really easy to live with car, and that's exactly what a Camry should be, in my opinion. Now, it is a Toyota hybrid, so it should be efficient, right? Well, the official combined cycle number is very impressive, 4 litres per 100 Ks. That's less than the previous version, and it is, well, as good as you could probably get of a car of this size that isn't a plug-in hybrid or fully electric. And yes, obviously those are different options to this. So 4 litres per 100. What did I achieve? Well, you'll see the figure on your screen now for a mix of different driving situations, and I am impressed with that. But you need to keep in mind that it does need 95 RON premium unleaded petrol. It's got a 50 litre fuel tank, so you should get a decent amount of Ks out of a tank. The updated Camry just got the maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating based on 2024 testing, and it does have heaps of standard safety spec and tech to achieve that score. Things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist, motorcyclist, junction and oncoming vehicle detection. There's adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assistance and a traffic jam assist feature, so it will actually stop, start and steer for you in some situations. There's blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a surround view camera system is standard on all grades. You've also got other things like a speed sign recognition system and a driver monitoring camera. So some of those things in other cars can be really, really annoying, but I haven't found it to be too frustrating in this car. Now, there's also 8 airbags fitted to this car, including dual front, front side, front center, driver's knee and full length curtain coverage. Toyota Australia offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty for its models, and if you maintain your car with the brand, that extends out to 7 years of warranty for the powertrain. And if you have a hybrid and it gets a health check every year, that will span out to 10 years for the battery pack in terms of warranty cover. Now, servicing, yes, it does have a cap price servicing plan. Your intervals are every 12 months and 15,000 kilometres, and over the first 5 years or 75,000 Ks, you'll see the average cost per visit on your screen now. That is very impressive. One thing about Toyota though, it doesn't throw in roadside assistance for no cost. You have to pay extra for it. It's not a big deal. It's about 120 bucks a year or something like that, and it might be worth spending that little bit extra and having that little bit of extra peace of mind. Yes, it is a bit boring, particularly in this spec, but it's also brilliant. As I said, this car has a fantastic reputation as both a family car or a fleet vehicle, and you can see why. There's plenty of space, plenty of tech, it's all usable, and it's very, very efficient. So tell me what you think about it in the comments. Would you choose a Camry, or is it a bit too bland for you? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and I'll see you when I see you.